And Natalie Fuchelli, you're up. I'm sorry, I said Natalie. My apologies, Natasha.
That's okay, sir. You said my last name wrong too, so.
Okay, so
I'm just
how do we?
playing.
So
It's
how do we-
Fuchelli. It's Fuchelli.
Fuchelli? All right,
Natasha
great.
Fuchelli.
I'll try and get it right next time.
Hi, good evening. I'm in here in defense of Mary's Kitchen staying open. My name is Natasha Fuchelli. I am an ambassador for Jesus Christ and a humanitarian. 7 years ago, my life was devastated, suffered multiple devastations, which left me out on the street, homeless, jobless, and by my bad choice of my own, addicted to drugs. In my transition from being that person to rising up and being the person that I am today, Mary's Kitchen was my lifeline and is now my supplier in my very own ministry of feeding the homeless, which I have been doing for 2 years. God has given me a servant's heart, and Mary's Kitchen gave me a place to apply it. I'd like to speak on the character of Gloria, the CEO of Mary's Kitchen, which is she is kind and compassionate. She loves you right where you're at in life. And in spite of our bad choices, our hurts, and our hang-ups, she believes that we still deserve to eat, to shower, and to have clean clothes. She teaches us to give honor and glory to the Lord through prayer and thanksgiving. She is my friend, a woman of God, and how beautiful it is to see Christ in her. My advice to anyone is to be more like Gloria. I would have never made it without Mary's Kitchen and feel that closing Mary's Kitchen is issuing the homeless community a death sentence. Since when do we make decisions to hurt the people of our very own community? Since when do we decide that people don't deserve to eat based on their choices in life? And why are the men and women who are behind closing Mary's Kitchen lacking in the areas of compassion, love, and understanding? These should be requirements for people running our city and for dealing with our community. In the Bible, it's not a suggestion. Our God commands us to love one another as ourselves. The same grace, mercy, and love and forgiveness He extends to us, He wants us to extend to others. I urge you, men and women of the council, I urge you to reconsider and choose love, not only for the well-being of the homeless community, but for your very own spiritual wellness and peace in your hearts, minds, and souls.
Thank you very much. On deck is Richard Spix. I would ask, we've got 25 cards here, so it's going to take a bit. So if we could hold the applause so that everybody gets an equal opportunity to speak, that would be much appreciated. Yes, sir.
Mayor Murphy, council members, thank you for the time this evening. My name is Matthew McKinnon, and I am the oldest great-grandchild of Mary McKinnon, the founder of Mary's Kitchen. At 82, an age when most people would be enjoying retirement, she saw a need in the community and took it upon herself to feed and clothe those less fortunate. In her own words, here we are in the richest country in the world, and people are hungry and sleeping in the streets. She started by feeding one family, then a few dozen, and soon hundreds of people in need came to Hart Park for a warm meal and compassion. When that was no longer sustainable, the city of Orange generously offered a piece of land to allow Mary's Kitchen to continue to operate safely and expand their services to the community. My great-grandmother continued to work at Mary's Kitchen and serve those less fortunate until she passed away in 2003 at the ripe old age of 100. Since then, Gloria Cease, who has been with Mary's Kitchen for over 27 years, has selflessly led an incredible group of volunteers that continue her mission. Mary's Kitchen is more than just a soup kitchen. In addition to providing 3 square meals a day, they provide laundry, mail services, showers, clothing, medical services, hygiene supplies, along with many other services. They provide all this with no government funding and a staff of volunteers that freely give their time week after week. Mary's Kitchen is such an integral part to addressing the needs of the homeless in Orange that it is the only private organization listed on the city's website on their homelessness information and resources page. To shut down all of these services in the middle of a global pandemic without any plan to supplant them is both irresponsible and inhumane. There is no plan to shelter, feed, clothe, or in any way help our most vulnerable residents to get back on their feet in their time of need. Closing Mary's Kitchen will do nothing to improve the homeless situation in the city of Orange. The metaphorical can is being kicked down the road, and eliminating these services will just lead to an increased burden on the city's resources. Now, Mary's Kitchen is not perfect. Just like any other company, organization, or government entity, there are things that can be done better and processes that could be improved. Mary's Kitchen has enjoyed a mutually beneficial relationship with the city of Orange for several decades and wants to continue to be a successful partner with the city and the Orange community. My hope is that the city will come to the table to discuss how we can work together to help care for and improve the lives of those in need. Now, I'm not naive to think that the homeless issue is easily solved. It is a complex issue that is faced in every major city across the U.S., and much smarter people than myself have tried working towards solving it. So while I don't have all the answers on how to solve these issues, I do know that closing Mary's Kitchen will only make things worse for those most in need of help and for the Orange community as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Peggy Carrillo is on deck, and Mr. Spix, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Richard Spix. I'm an attorney. I've been an attorney here in Orange County since 1983. I sent you a letter to the clerk as well as to the housing element staffer. You may have seen, I urge you to review it. I'm not going to go through the legal analysis here in front of you. I'm here to try and tell you to check out that letter, and there's another letter from Elder Law talking about the role that Mary's Kitchen plays in complying with statewide housing law. I'm a housing attorney here in Orange County. I do a variety of cases. I did the Pacific Amphitheater case up to the Supreme Court for excess noise nuisance. I've done about 400 jury trials in landlord-tenant habitability cases. The bailiffs call me the Rat King, and I don't think it's because of my personality, but it could be. I got this sign here from one of the good people outside, and it says, "There, but for the grace of God, go I." The statistics after COVID are that about 7 million households in the U.S. are behind in their rents. At the end of this month, the California moratorium on evictions expires. 7 million, I'm sure, is that California participates in that 7 million more than other states in terms of sheer numbers. We're going to be seeing a wave of homeless coming up. And unless we take leadership on this, I haven't been able to find a city action that approves the closing of Mary's Kitchen. I urge you to study it and consider the termination of the license that has been put on the table by staff. I think it is improvident. I urge you to rethink this decision because they're, but for the grace of God, go I.
Thank you. On deck is Vivian Chun. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name's Peggy McKinnon Carrillo, and I'm Mary McKinnon's granddaughter. When my grandmother started the kitchen in 1984, she was shocked by the sheer amount of poverty that she was seeing in her community. Every day on her walks down LaSalle after attending Mass, she would see people that had fallen upon hard times. One story she continued to tell that I believe was the impetus for her taking action was when she saw someone eating out of a can of beans with their fingers. She simply could not stand for this. In her words, "We are the richest country in the world, yet these people go hungry." By making her famous barley soup that she fed us all with growing up, She gave it to the people that she saw. Food was her love language and at the core of her legacy. Her impact for those less fortunate evolved far beyond just eating her soup. They became a community. The people she fed became her people, and Hart Park was their common ground. It was during this time that Gloria Suisse came in to her life and quickly became her dearest friend and the person that would carry on her legacy. My grandmother and Gloria were a force to be reckoned with. If only Grandma could be here now to see what was, and to give this speech herself. It was in the 90s when the city first prompted them to halt their operations at Hart Park. They worked with the city to find a more suitable location to continue their ministry. They landed on Struck and have been there ever since. It couldn't be a better location. It's an industrial area out of the way of residential streets. It's hidden in a quiet cul-de-sac, and they've been there for many, many, many years. It has become the vital base for this community. As you have heard, the power of Mary's Kitchen goes beyond the incredible cooking. It's a place for them to find basic human needs that we all take for granted. A hot shower, washing machines, a place to charge their phones. But beyond that, there are intangibles. It's a community. People that know them and care if no one has seen them in a while. Our communities are here, what lift us up in our times of need. And this past year, we have all spent countless hours on Zoom calls from the comfort of our own homes and desperately needing our community of friends to keep us sane. But at the same time, what were these people doing who didn't have the luxury of a home? As the City of Orange looks to upend Mary's Kitchen, the residents and volunteers are faced with the question no one in the city seems to have a good answer for. What next? Where will they get their next meal? Where will they have their mail sent? How will they find resources that will allow them to improve their lives? Why has Mary's Kitchen been the city's primary resource for all these years? Mary's is a privately funded and operated kitchen that fills the gap and has filled it for more than 27 years. It's a shameful reflection on our community that the city council has been utterly devoid of humanity in this case. The city that prides its...
Thank you very much. Ms. Chun, and Elizabeth Martin is on deck. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Vivian Chun, and I was in Mary's home with her the day that she passed away. It was 2003, and I was 2 years old, and my grandma, Gloria Cease, happened to be watching me that day and took me there to say goodbye to her dear friend. As I grew up hearing stories of the early days of Mary serving food in Hart Park and spent time as Mary's Kitchen as it grew with the help of my grandma and many other passionate volunteers, I began to understand the overwhelming compassion at the core of Mary's work. For the next 18 years, I volunteered at Mary's Kitchen and realized the rarity of the work done there. Work that knows their clients by name, and yes, the volunteers respectfully refer to their homeless patrons as clients. Work that makes a real connection to real people in need, treating them with dignity and changing their lives for the better. Mary's practices love for all, something we need more of, and now it seems especially in the city of Orange. Mary's does not say we will give you food, a shirt, or a shower, only if you abide by unattainable standards that push aside those suffering from addiction, mental illness, and other elements inherent in the cycle of poverty that strip people of opportunity from the first place. Mary's feeds everyone who's hungry. Mary's Kitchen doesn't solve homelessness. It would take not only cooperation and compassion from local governments, as well as federal governments, but also enormous efforts from countless people around the world to curb this epidemic. But Mary's feeds hundreds and hundreds of citizens in this city, in our city. Mary's shows us a place to start. The amount of people sick, starving, and suffering remains the same, maybe even grows when you move them from city to city, when you attempt to hide them, when you close down homeless kitchens, when you take away their safe havens. Let's practice compassion in the city of Orange. Please save Mary's Kitchen. Thank you.
Thank you. Monica Engel, you're on deck, and Elizabeth Martin, you're up.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm very concerned about the situation with Mary's Kitchen. The City of Orange has an obligation to the state and to the federal government and to the citizens to provide for all of the population in your area, not just the rich, but those who are on bad times. Lots of things go into homelessness. Being poor is not a moral failing. We all had a hand up. No one pulled themselves up by their own bootstraps ever. It's an impossible thing to do physically. And to deny the citizens of your city homeless services is wrong. You have a housing element that is now out of date, which means that you could be subjecting the city to the possibility of losing federal and state funding. Not only is your housing element out of date, but it also, the only service provider for homeless persons is Mary's Kitchen in the city of Orange. You guys don't have any other homeless services listed in your housing element for people who are homeless. And now you're going to get rid of the only one that's there. You say because it's inconsistent with your housing plan, which you really don't have because it's not current, and there's going to be a homeless shelter built on an adjacent lot. How can Mary's Kitchen be inconsistent with the use there? It makes no sense to me. You need to read your housing element because you're jeopardizing the citizens of your city to the possibility of losing federal and state funds by playing games. It's the only service for homeless people that you have. Homeless people have a right to live, and we have an obligation. I'm not a religious person anymore, but I have watched people. You're very proud that you start with a prayer, but why don't we stop praying and start working to help people? It's time, and it's time for the city of Orange to step up and be a leader, not a follower, and not a city that is unwilling to care for everyone, not just the rich. Thank you.
Thank you. Tony, and I apologize up front, is it Char Goulash or something close to that? Okay. Monica, you're up. Thank you.
Yes. I've had a relationship with Mary's Kitchen since Mary was cooking in her mobile home and then in Hart Park. I represent Temple Beth Shalom in Santa Ana. And I don't know what happened, but about 10 years ago, it came to me that most facilities that fed the homeless or churches that were feeding the homeless didn't do it on Sunday because it's the Sabbath. Well, our Sabbath, Jews, is on Saturday. What better thing for us to do than to feed the homeless on a Sunday? So I started this 9 years ago with the help of Gloria. I went to her for advice, and one of the things that she said to me has never left my mind. She said, I cook like I was making a meal for Jesus. And that just filled my heart. And I'm Jewish, but it just shows such a feeling. I love it. So we are now, we're hoping to open in August. And we were feeding 5 different locations. We were feeding over 300 people every Sunday. Our kitchen was filled with our temple members who would volunteer, and they all loved doing it. Some of the places we would just deliver the food. Some of the places we would serve the food. So we served at Orange County Rescue Mission, Wise Place. I can't read. I need my glasses. I'm sorry. Western Service Workers, Casa Teresa, which is a home for unwed mothers. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I don't have my glasses. But I'm telling you, we feed about 350 people every Sunday. One of the complaints about Mary's Kitchen is they're saying that there are criminals there. Well, one of the major problems with that is many times when a criminal gets out of jail, where do they send them? They send them to Mary's Kitchen. So Mary, God bless Gloria, she is able to put these people in line. When they complain about the streets being dirty, she makes sure the guys go out there and clean it up. She doesn't let them leave the premises. They're not allowed to linger. I'm just wondering if, I know the police are overloaded, but there's a police station just 2 blocks away. If they could just periodically, not on a regular schedule, just park in the cul-de-sac as a deterrent.
Thank you very much.
That might help.
Thank you.
Hello, council members. Hopefully, my name's...
One moment. Jim Dempsey, you're on deck. Now go ahead.
Hopefully, I sent you an email before 3 o'clock, so hopefully you had a chance to read it. I wanted to expand on it a little bit about it. I met Mary in, I believe, the 80s when I was chairman of Engel Micro's philanthropic committee. So what we would look for back then were any mom and pop type of charities or organizations. And Mary's Kitchen was one of the ones I found, and I actually went down to Hart Park and helped them and ate their meals. What Mary's Kitchen has become over the years is an institution to the homeless, as far as a place that would provide, as you've heard, clothing, showers, and other resources. With the COVID and what's been happening as far as the treatment or the application of resources and services to homeless in Orange County, that's the last or the oldest institution serving us. And like she said earlier, to remove that would be detrimental to any and all efforts by the city or the county. I think Mary's Kitchen and the city of Orange have developed a relationship over the years, a long relationship. It is an ideal spot. That they still have a lot more services and resources to develop as far as helping the homeless there besides just providing food, give them guidance, give them direction, which some of the other agencies, they only do parts of it. They have enough people that have a lot of experience with either, resources, county solutions, or housing. One thing that, as far as the police element, I mean, they police themselves, but that's something we could take care of on our own. I mean, she has people cut volunteers on it, but that's an easy organizational thing to work with within the homeless or the police there. I believe that's not even going to be a problem. I like to see the statistics, really. There's a couple guys who go out there and tell you this is not happening anymore. But I think it would be in Orange's best interest to support them, or at least come up with a little more detailed plan. They are an institution for the homeless. The only one of the remaining ones, they got one at Huntington Beach and then Pastor Young up in Fullerton, but they need a little support. You got to show some faith. You got to let us have our faith and keep the spirit up. If we make someone smile or laugh every day, we've done our job. It behooves you guys that can cast that vote to put a little faith and give them a little chance. Let's sit at the table, be quiet and be frank, and then we can address all the issues. I don't think it's that hard to overcome. There's a lot of bad things going on, there's a lot of good things. You got to go with the good and the bad. Every time I was there, I met Mary, gave her a big old check. You should have seen the look on her face when she goes, "What are we going to do with this?" You got to take it to the bank. About this big. So I'd say you guys need to really assess it, and let's work together to develop a really good cohesive plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Heidi Zimmerman, you're on deck. So if you'd come forward. Mr. Dempsey.
Good evening, council members, and thank you for allowing me to speak on behalf of Mary's Kitchen. I've been a resident of Orange for the last 27 years. I currently live on North Waverly Street. I'm a retired licensed clinical social worker, and in the 80s, I worked on Skid Row in Los Angeles and also directed a shelter in Santa Ana for families who are experiencing homelessness. For 13 years, I worked as a mental health worker for Orange County Healthcare, and during that time I was on the CAT team and also helped initiate the PERT program with the Orange Police Department. As a ride-along worker responding to calls involving persons with mental health emergencies, and persons who were homeless. I did that for 6 years. I'm here on behalf of Mary's Kitchen, but also I'm here on behalf of some of the people who are currently homeless. Mike, Mario, Greg, Nolan, John, whom I know personally and with whom I still have contact. These are the ones who have little voice in what goes on in the city, and they're the ones who struggle day after day simply surviving the vicious cycle of homelessness. I know that Mary's Kitchen is in the path of the new proposed housing on West Struck. I'm not well versed in the legality of the situation, but I do wonder why it is always the persons who are poor who get shoved around, neglected, and looked down on. And why is someone devalued simply because they have no place to live or not enough to eat? It seems that people who are poor and devalued get pushed out of sight to industrial areas or areas where resources are far away. I'm unaware of any plan to provide Mary's Kitchen an alternative site, and know that as council members, you have many concerns to deal with. And I appreciate the work that you do in running the city, but I ask you seriously to consider offering another suitable site for Mary's Kitchen. Please help continue the important service of providing food, clothing, showers, a place to pick up important mail, and a bit of respite from the streets for Mike, Mario, Greg, Nolan, and John.
Thank you very much. Carol Walters is on deck.
Hello.
Go ahead.
I'm Heidi Zimmerman. I'm founder of Oma's Angel Foundation. We service the homeless in Northern California. Northern Orange County. I'm sorry, I'm very nervous. Because, you want to know why I'm nervous? Because I'm heartbroken. I've lived around here for almost 60 years, and for those of you who aren't as old as me or haven't been in this area, I was raised in St. John's Lutheran Church right there in the corner. When you walk outside, I want you to look at it. And I'm going to tell you what I was taught as a child. The United States was beautiful, wonderful, free place. And you know what? We cared about people. We cared about everybody. I was taught to love each person. It doesn't matter if you have a home or not. It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what religion you are. I was taught to love people. And when my mother went to heaven, I started Oma's Angel Foundation in her name. I'm trying not to be emotional, but your actions are killing people already. When you send your law enforcement officers out there to constantly harass the homeless, give them tickets, and I've seen them given tickets in front of my eyes that are false tickets, where you charge somebody for you cite them for not having 3 feet, and I have a photo that they had 3 feet. When your officers are given orders to harass the homeless, you're killing them. So you who are sitting there, you're killing people by the way you're treating the homeless. Now, I'm sorry to be so tough on you, but these are my friends. Now, when I was raised in that good Lutheran church, and the religions are all good, God bless the Jewish woman who's here, too. We all want the same thing. I can't believe that you're actually considering shutting down Mary's Kitchen. What is wrong with you? You have no soul. When you sleep in the middle of the night, I want you to wake up and imagine what it's like to not have a bed, to not have food, to not have a phone. You don't have a soul that you're even talking about this. I don't understand what's happening to our country. It's rotten to the core that you're even talking about this. Our country's lost our soul. This city has lost our soul. I remember what it was like when we cared about people in the United States, when we cared about people in the city of Orange, in the city of Anaheim, in Orange County. We used to love people. What happened?
Thank you very much. Carol Walters, and on deck is Mr. Slater, and he's already in an on-deck circle, so he's set. Go ahead.
I know that land is worth a lot of money if you're selling it. So why don't, it's not for sale. Don't get rid of Mary Kitchen. But what I'm saying is we have a lot of people that count on food. Where would you guys do at night when you go to bed? Think, what would you do if you didn't have your next meal coming? There's going to be more shoplifting. You're going to cause more problem for the police department. And we have a big problem with homeless people, and now we're going to have a bigger problem, and we're going to have another monster in City of Orange like we do with the fireworks. You guys got rid of a good thing, and now we got a bad thing. So think about it before you do anything. See where they're going to get their next food. And we need to do more for the homeless. And more they try to clean up, now we're going to have a bigger mess. So think about it. You guys are human beings. What would you do? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Slater, you're up, and Lisa Ackerman Baldwin is on deck.
Thank you, Mayor. I got to waive my comments tonight.
Okay. Here comes Lisa, and Ray Hernandez then is on deck. Take your time.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Lisa Ackerman Baldwin. I reside on East Barclay in Orange. I know that the issue of ADUs has been a topic of concern lately. However, I'm here to inquire as to what the City Council and staff are doing to address an older topic, that of unlawful boarding houses. This elected body came up with laws a few years ago to address the proliferation of students renting houses all around our city. It was heralded at the time as a real win for residents who were concerned with increased traffic, overcrowding of on-street parking, rowdy parties, and the eroding of our R1 neighborhoods. So what happened? When I asked city staff how to go about enforcing this law, to address the homes on either side of our home that are now owned by off-site owners who are renting to students, I am told that, gee whiz, the owners just put all tenants under one lease or two leases. Sorry. Is that all we can do? This situation is not unique to Orange. Can't we collaborate with other cities, pool our resources to hire more talented legal minds that can go to the state and challenge their laws that have hamstrung ordinances passed at the city level? I see that further on down the consent calendar, item 3.33, you have been petitioned for permit parking because of the influx of students living on Mayfair. Is this the future of every neighborhood in the city of Orange? These boarding houses are not or should not be permitted uses. Young families don't have a chance to set up housekeeping here because investors gobble up older properties with cash offers, which will also erode our school enrollment and quality of education for those families who are lucky enough to one-up the opportunist landlords. If it were impossible for them to rent to students, they would look elsewhere to spend their real estate dollars. Finally, the red and black elephant in the room is the university, which is coming back to you with an application to increase their enrollment. Until they can house all their students, or at least 90% of them, their pleas should hopefully fall on deaf council ears. Please remember who your constituents are, who voted for you. Please collaborate with other cities and lobby the state to craft laws that protect our neighborhoods so there will be a town of full-time residents, not just transitory citizens who may only be in our city for a short time. And thank you for your attention. Good evening.
Thank you. Ray Hernandez, and on deck is Michael Sawyer.
Thank you, Council. This is the first time doing this. It's a little nerve-wracking, but I wanted to thank you for allowing Mary's Kitchen to exist as long as it has, and also thank the police department for doing a good job with our people. I just wanted to say that it was really refreshing to start the meeting with prayer, and then also to actually do the Pledge of Allegiance. It's been a while. And I think one of the things going on with America is that we're all going away from the Bible and taking it out of schools and going away from traditions that should be in place to help people keep respect and And I think God is one of the main pieces that will help that. The Bible says, we're supposed to take care of one another, and then it goes also saying how we're supposed to take care of the poor. And that's what Mary's Kitchen does. I've been a volunteer there for 4 years. When I stepped in, I saw there was a big need for a lot of help there, maintenance, fixing things. The food is really good. And so that's what I do. I'm there pretty much every day, helping and supporting Gloria in any way I can. So I'm really hoping that you guys could reconsider your position, consider the Bible, consider, I don't know what the plans are. I don't know any of those type of details as far as property being sold and all that. And just know that those people do need help. I'm homeless myself, and I think that Mary's Kitchen does provide the basic necessities. But one of the things I've seen, and myself has seen, you have a little bit more dignity. I mean, that you're showered, you're dressed decent. I think that is a big, a lot of value for the community or for the people. And anyways, thank you for allowing me to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sawyer, and on deck is Bert Steensma.
My name's Michael Sawyer. I'm just, I'm your brother, I'm your sister, I'm your mother, I'm people. For most of my life, I made a lot of money, and I created a lot of things. And if I told you what I created, you'd be like, yeah, then you could check, and it was me. I had a nervous breakdown. Things happened, things were said, a lot of beer was drank, whatever, I ended up on the street, and I was put in jail finally, You're not finally, I shouldn't have been. And I'm finally going to get it taken off my record, but, I was in jail and I got let out. They just told me to go because I was going to fight somebody there over racism. I don't like racism. My mom said either you're a piece of crap or you're not. I lived in my van for a month and a half. I used the bathroom in a bucket, peed in a bottle, got my water to drink out of the gas station. Nobody would even help me. And I was told where Mary's Kitchen was. And I went there, And I know there's people that go there and get high or whatever. And, I went for the food and was looking for drugs, and I found God, And it gave me a reason to keep going. And, it could be any of you guys. I have mental problems, bipolar and schizophrenic. And I've been hearing voices my whole life, The voices haven't changed. It's got older with me, but if it wasn't for that place, and they helped me find God, I just wasn't looking, and I count on it. There's a lot of people that do, and you put yourself on that street, I didn't have to wear suits. I look good, man. I was in an accident. Broke my hand, my ankle, knocked all my teeth out. And because of COVID, I'm finally going to get my teeth, finally. You try walking down the street, people won't look at you. They turn their back on you. They're going to complain because you do this. Let me use your restroom, man. Let me wash up. And you guys are going to do it. It could be anybody. It could be any of your children. I wouldn't wish it on anybody, what's going on. And it permeates. It makes it worse. Mary's Kitchen gave me a reason to live, I've tried to commit suicide more times than I got fingers and toes. Really. And, God just won't let me go. I count on it. I'm a sinner every day, I say. You know, and Gloria seems to think I have a lot to do with Jesus, you know. I'm like, she said, I think you're attributed a little bit too much there, Michael. You know, I thank him every day I get to sin. But I'm Brian, you know, I'm trying to be good. You put yourself in that position, you would not know what to do. You would not know what to do, and you would not want your children or anybody else to go through it. You're closing it down. I don't know why. I mean, it doesn't make sense. You know, put the people on the street. I'm fine getting help, and you're going to do that.
Thank you very much. Bert Steensma. On deck is Rosas Dunbar. Yes,
Good
sir.
evening, Mayor, and thank you for hearing me tonight, council members. I'm one of those criminal guys that came out of Chino Institute for Men, 2017, had nothing at all. They didn't tell us at Chino we'd be homeless. But once I got out and realized what was going on, someone did tell me about Mary's Kitchen. And you can't imagine the feeling that you have inside of you that says, you know, there's a place you can go and you can eat, and you can shower. You can get an address there, you can have your mail sent there. I had all that when I went there. I needed my ID, I needed to go to DMV, they sent my ID there so I could get social services to get on my feet. I think the greatest thing about Mary's Kitchen is Gloria, the staff, the volunteers. They don't cuss, they don't swear. They teach people by example how to live, to respect everybody. Now, there are bad apples. I stayed at the courtyard down in Santa Ana for 3 years. And we used to talk amongst each other. You know, there can be 10 homeless people that are such bad apples, destroy things, and then we're all looked at like that. But we aren't. We're not all like that. There's some decent people there. And we just love and put up with those who have mental issues. Because it certainly has to be mental issues the way some of them act. And I appreciate the police department. I've seen nothing but good come out of them when they're there, talking to people. I mean, they need to be there. They need to give people tickets because they're out of hand. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think all of us that are there that are okay, we should, and we do, tell people that their behavior is not good. But Gloria is one of the most precious people I think I've ever met. I never knew Mary, but Gloria is always there working, and you can tell she's exhausted sometimes, but she's always kind. If somebody has a need, she'll go and take care of it even though she's tired. And I think the greatest thing, though, is their example. People that come out of prison need that example. I needed it. So I guess that's all I have to say. This is my first council meeting that I ever did.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Rosas Dunbar. On deck is James Dahl. Last call for Rosas Dunbar. You must be James Dahl. On deck is Crystal Husband. Well, it says Rosas Dunbar, but it's as long as we modify things so we capture it for the minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Hi, I'm Josie Dunbar. So I started as a volunteer with Mary's Kitchen through an organization at Chapman University. And I don't know if I'm allowed to ask you all questions, but I just sort of wanted to start by asking if any of you have been to Mary's Kitchen. You volunteered? Yes.
It's not an interchange.
I'm not allowed. Okay.
Yeah, we got to keep it one way since it wasn't agendized as an item.
Okay.
That's by law.
Okay, that's fair. Well, then, food for thought. If you have or haven't been, I was at Mary's Kitchen the other day, and I was thinking about how I would write a letter to each of you all to try and capture the community there, in case you hadn't had the experience of being there. Because I don't really see how anyone who spends time in Mary's Kitchen could leave wanting it to not exist. It's just such an incredible place. And the community is something that I don't know how to summarize in words for you if you haven't experienced it firsthand. It really saddens me that some people in this community, in the city, wouldn't have that opportunity, let alone the people who receive the service, but in addition, just the people that are volunteering there. I think anyone that spends any time at all in Mary's Kitchen is so much better for it. So with that aside, I like to think that everyone in this room has the same goal. I like to think, I've read what the city has put out as the statement, what you plan to do, and I think that that's great. I studied political science and economics, and I respect the institutional approach completely. But I also think that if your intention really is to protect the homeless population, to give them better lives, then I don't understand how you can in good conscience do what you say that you're doing. I don't understand how Mary's Kitchen can cease to exist and how you can say that that's in the best interest of the people that you're looking out for. And I will continue to ask you that question. People in the city of Orange will continue to ask you that question because it doesn't make sense. So my last thing is just that Mary's Kitchen is not just a matter of the volunteers and the clients. It's the entire Orange County community that we're talking about. We're talking about the Chapman community. We have faculty at Chapman that are very passionately involved in this. We have churches in the area that are looking to help, that are looking to be the place for Mary's Kitchen if you do decide to go through with this and close down the location. We're not alone in this. And I hope you know that what you're doing is something that's not just affecting the people that volunteer there, nor is it just affecting the people that receive the service. You're affecting the entire city. You're affecting your city in a negative way. And I'd just like you to consider that. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. James Dahl, and then on deck is Crystal Husband.
Mayor and members of the council, I'm Pastor James Dollins of Anaheim United Methodist Church. I'm also the coordinator of a group that's come together spontaneously, the Friends of Mary's Kitchen, 37 members of the city of, residents of the city of Orange, various religious leaders, and also we have members of the family of Mary McKinnon who are a part of our group as well. We've had several meetings. Some have been held at our church. Of course, the ministries of Mary's Kitchen go well beyond the bounds of Orange. They serve many different people in our area. And we are convening our group with the intent to do everything in our power to ensure that Mary's Kitchen services never come to a halt, but continue to thrive and serve our neighbors who are the most in need. Mary's Kitchen is treasured by our church and by our community precisely because it serves those who fall through the cracks of all the other support systems of society, those who are mentally ill, disabled, chronically homeless. The Bible calls such neighbors the least of these our sisters and our brothers. And Jesus teaches when we serve these neighbors, we serve God. And when we neglect these neighbors, we neglect God. So I, too, come acknowledging that we are here because we truly don't want to see those most in need suffer and die. The police officers, to the residents of Orange, to all of you, no one wants to see those who are the most poor among us suffering and hungry or dying on the street. This is the last thing that we want to see. And Mary's Kitchen has been there to ensure that that does not happen, that people are welcome, that they're fed, that they're accepted with dignity, that they're treated like equals. And Gloria Cease, as we've mentioned, has a calling and a gift for this. She is right next to Mother Teresa in my book. It's been an honor to become her friend and supporter. So with all this in mind, our Friends of Mary's Kitchen seeks a few different things. First of all, more time to improve Mary's Kitchen's operations so that we can better comply with safety standards. The 3 months that have been allotted by this notice of termination, that's not a reasonable, we can't do it. There's no way that it can be, anything can really be accomplished in just 3 months. So more time, permission to remain in Mary's Kitchen's current location on Struck Street, which has been an ideal place to serve the poor without inconveniencing businesses or homeowners. And we also ask that future decisions be made with the survival of the poor in mind and not in the interests of businesses or builders. So whatever solutions we can find, let us agree that we are all unwilling to let the most vulnerable among us, our sisters and brothers in God's family, go in need and without help. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Michael Wright is on deck, by the way.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Michael Wright is on deck, so if he would come forward. Go ahead, Ms. Husband.
Okay. My name is Crystal Husband, as in looking for or never again, depending. AKA the Music Muse. I've lived in Orange for 55 years. I've been in business in Orange for 41 years, and I've had my business in the Orange Circle for 32 years. I also live at the flats above Felix Cafe. So needless to say, this town is my heartbeat. And I've been the voice of many people for this subject of trying to get the proper channels opened up so that we can have live music or amplified music in the circle, like many other towns have, Santa Monica, Long Beach. It draws people in. Music really helps the businesses. People are making time to eat and shop and sit and listen to music. Prior to this and the pandemic, our businesses were all ready to go under because there's no parking. I'm like, there's never been parking. I've heard that for 41 years from my clients. And then we get this parking structure, but then nobody wants to walk far. And then the pandemic hits, and we have outdoor dining, and the new closure of the street totally changed everything. Now this was a destination where people could come with their families and get out of the house and uplift each other and shop and eat outside. And then I was hosting live music. I was approached years back from Starbucks to start hosting live music at Starbucks. And then that was so successful, it got so big. I tried the District Lounge. That didn't work because the bar atmosphere wasn't good for the artists, which I wanted to highlight. And then I got approached by Tom Murray, who owns the Orange Circle City Dancers. And he said, hey, we've got this great dance club, and we always have amazing bands come play, and we'd love to come help your city and make sure everybody eats and shops, and then they can come hear the music and dance. So I said, all right, let's go ahead and try it. I had approval from everybody in my corner. Most of the businesses are all closed right there, and nobody lives above where I'm at. And it got huge. I mean, crowds. I mean, I have people log in from across the U.S. watching it, saying it made them happy. It gave them a reason to keep going. And I just want to make it possible that we can get live music approved, that our town can be able to enjoy this and help our businesses keep growing, and that we can help also keep the I'm going to say vibe, but the moral, no, what's the word? Everybody happy. I mean, the elderly come around. I put chairs out for them. They bring me flowers. So I'm just hoping that you guys allow that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Wright, and on deck is Heather Mittleman.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you so much for having this opportunity in this space. I'm the founder of woundwalk.org. We're a community of volunteer medics and nurses and doctors that go out to the streets and tend and give first aid to the folks who call outside home. The pandemic was quite rough on people, and we saw the impacts there impact the health and also the mental conditions of a lot of the folks that were out there. We were very happy this morning to meet with the folks at Mary's Kitchen to offer our team to come out on a regular basis each week to be with them. We surround ourselves with clinicians. Our goal here is to get you to a primary care physician, not the ER, but to a regular doctor. We like it when we are able to work with mental health clinicians and drug intervention specialists and clinicians that work on addiction recovery. I think we all agree that this is a very noble endeavor. But what's next? How do we connect folks back to the road to recovery and the road to health? We'd like some time there to bring clinicians out, to work with the local medical providers, the mental health providers, the housing and navigation experts. We're standing here tonight with Donald Dermott. We call him Pastor Donald, who helps to go out in the field with us with his list of services and offerings. He's an expert on what the state offers, what the county offers, and what local offers. I think that we have an opportunity here because there's an emphasis. There's volunteers appearing who haven't been involved with Mary's Kitchen before. What's next for individuals? It's wonderful that they're provided a meal, some clothing, and a shower. But let's bring clinicians out there in this moment and figure out where we go next as a community and as a city. Thank you.
Heather Mittleman, and followed by Patrick Hogan.
Hi, good evening. I'm
Hi.
really nervous, but
And don't be nervous, it's just us talking.
I'm speaking to you in the interest of Mary's Kitchen. I have a couple thoughts. One is that the city of Orange should be really proud that Mary Kitchens exist in Orange. It's a place where community is built and sustained and where meals are provided, and obviously there's a lot more that comes with Mary's Kitchen. Meals provided to people that deserve it, right? Which is everyone. I think you would all, agree to that. My other thought is, I'm an avid cyclist. I ride the Santa Ana River Trail, and I've been riding that river trail for, half my life, whatever, it doesn't matter. And I'm just like, where did all my community members go? Where did all the unhoused people go, right? And this is an establishment that provides so much. Orange County is so populated. Where did all the unhoused people go? Where do they get fed? Where do they get housed? Another thought is, I was reading what the city wants from Mary's Kitchen, which is to, make sure that the unhoused community is going from this place to the next transition of up and up and up. What are people supposed to do if they don't have an address? If they can't shower? If they can't eat? What happens? What you're asking is for them to provide social workers. Well, are you going to provide those social workers? Y'all shouldn't be taking away Mary's Kitchen. It should absolutely be an establishment that stays, that is integral to this city, and y'all should be adding to it, right? Where is the next step for people to go? And where is your role in providing that next step for people? This is a place that should stay and should be supported. And where's the city's money coming to do that? To provide what you're asking a private establishment to do for community members of Orange. That is it. Thank you.
Thank you. Patrick Hogan. On deck is Grant Lerner.
Good evening. I'd like to talk to you tonight in terms of a loss. Now imagine, if you will, what's the first thing a homeless person does when they lose their home? What's the first thing they lose? Some would say, well, they lose their home, or they lost their job, maybe their health got bad, or they had a loved one that was supporting them die, something like that. The very first thing that a person loses when they become homeless is their self-esteem. It's how they feel about themselves. Now, three things at Mary's Kitchen happens there. I see it all the time. I volunteer there the last couple of years. I see it all the time. Three things happen. When a person comes in and they're first homeless and unsure of where they're at and what to do, a homeless person will go up and help them. Now, that homeless person that helps them, their esteem is bolstered up. They have a purpose, and they're there for a reason, and they know it. The second thing that happens is the person who needs the help, their esteem is bolstered up because someone has come and helped them. They are worth being helped. And the third and the greatest thing I see it happen is that person who was at one time needed help, now they'll go out and help someone else. Nothing could be more important than that in this world. Yes, we need to eat. Yes, we need to have a shower. Yes, you need to have clothes. But the thing that people need the most is each other. And when you take that away from them, what are they going to do now? They'll be wandering around until someone comes up to them and asks for help. Or they'll be wandering around until they find someone who will help them. Maybe they'll find them, maybe they won't. But to take that away and not have a place because they may be a public nuisance. I know plenty of people with dogs that are public nuisances. But doesn't mean you should kill the dogs. So just remember, we're all human beings, and the only way that the Father of us all helped any of us is through each other. That's all I got.
Thank you. Grant Leonard, is it very good? And Michelle,
That's great, thank you.
Michelle Saldana is on deck. Yes, sir.
Hey, City Council, I hope you folks are having a great night tonight. Really, I do. So I'm here to ask that you folks, my name is Grant Lehner. I'm a housing attorney in Orange. I'm here to just ask you folks to reconsider the actions that you're taking in regards to Mary's Kitchen, like many others here. I think these actions are based not out of compassion or wanting to help the community members, but really out of fear. And these fears are based on a misunderstanding of disability, addiction, race, and really a misunderstanding of who unhoused folks are as individual human beings, right? So, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every unhoused person is an angel or a perfect person, but I do think that they are all folks that just need a break. They just need a little bit of help right now. And, maybe I'm naive for thinking this, but I'd like to hope that you folks got into City Council because you really had a desire to improve the community and help your community members. And who needs more help than folks that just need a meal, right? I do hope that you folks go home tonight and sleep really well. But I do also hope that before you go to sleep and you sleep well, in your big comfy bed, in your big comfy house, that you just take a second to think about folks that might not have a big comfy bed or a big comfy house. And, those thoughts take you to that place that first drove you into City Council and first drove you into city politics where, you just wanted to help folks. And I hope that thought, that desire to help folks takes you to a place where you really reconsider the actions that you're taking right now. And yeah, that's all. Thank you for taking a second. And yeah, have a great night.
Thank you. Michelle Saldana, and on deck is Margaret Sharp.
Hi, my name is Michelle Saldana. I'm the founder of Helping Homeless Companions, a nonprofit I started back in 2015 to help homeless and low-income families of Orange County. And it really did start because of Gloria. She allowed me to go in just as a volunteer, and I started to groom the pets of the homeless individuals that we help at Mary's Kitchen. Then shortly after, I had asked her for advice to become an official nonprofit, so we are a 501c3. And I was devastated to hear that Mary's Kitchen had a 90-day notice. I know that property can be sold and things can change, and I'm willing to have change in our community. I've been part of Orange for 29 years now. My family came from Texas, and my mom wanted to live in Orange. I don't know what drew her here, but as my family has been here for that many years, it really felt like home to me. Until a couple weeks ago when I heard that Mary's was closing, I was devastated. I feel like a lot of people here today have talked to you all, but a lot of people haven't mentioned that this is a food pantry, and that's how I like to describe Mary's Kitchen. They help seniors that do have houses. They help families and little children. I have been there almost every Saturday for the last 4 years or so, and I help anybody that has their pets there. I do grooming, I do essentials, and not only is grooming very important to our community, but it's a basic care because it's going into hygiene and safety for everybody. I don't know if any of you have pets, but you can understand how expensive it can be. And a lot of individuals that go to Mary's are also transported there from local homeless shelters. So a lot of individuals are not just homeless and drug addicts. They are already seeking help from these homeless shelters in other communities, but they still visit Mary's because that's their home. They have friends and support there along with my resources that are for the pets. And I would really hope that you guys all consider that Mary's deserves more time, especially because of all of the time they've given into our community of Orange. This is my first time out here, and I know it won't be my last. Thank you.
Thank you. Margaret Sharp. On deck is Pastor Donald Dermott.
Hello. I just wanted to say something briefly about myself. I've lived in Orange County for many years. I usually have a very well-paying job, but I've been through some issues recently with the COVID. I had just started a brand new job, and then I got laid off. I got some unemployment, but then suddenly it just stopped. I had no money coming in whatsoever, and I scrambled, and I did everything I could, and I've been through this several times, and I know the stress and how it makes people feel. Luckily, I didn't become homeless, but I know what the feeling is, and with the stress, and I've had to go to food pantries. I've had to go to SOS. I've had to go through the whole thing, you know, and I really appreciate all the help that people gave me. And also, more importantly, is my community, because with having gone through that, I want to go out and help other people too. And if I can help people, I do. And I think one of the things that I love about Mary's Kitchen is the sense of community. There's people that want to help, people that need help. It's a good environment, and it's conducive to bringing somebody up. There's a lot of times people just shove people in a shelter, but they don't have that support system. And I think that that's really important, that we need to help each other out. I work in architecture, and I've gone to many city council meetings. And I know that a lot of the city council, I know with the regional housing needs assessment, that you guys have to do a lot of affordable housing, that you're short on that. I've also seen tons of developments go up all over that are mostly luxury homes. And that's what's causing a lot of this homelessness, because it's not just when you bring in those luxury developments, which I believe that there's going to be some sort of a luxury development going up somewhere in here. Anyway, it raises the property values so that the people can't afford the places that they're in. So what I'm trying to say is that the city council is one of the main controlling factors over what happens if people with homelessness, because they control the developers, they control how things are zoned. They control what properties can be used as a SB2 zone or something. So I would encourage you to please, there's a huge need and it's only going to get worse. Please, help Mary's Kitchen. Maybe get some little tiny housing or little campgrounds or something like that. If you want any of my help, I could help design stuff or help you out. Habitat for Humanity, there's a lot of solutions that could help address these people once they leave the property, and I'm willing to help.
Thank you. Pastor Dermott, and the person on deck is Richard Goldsmith.
Hello, thank you, Mayor, City Council, also City Manager, for allowing me to talk for a couple minutes. I didn't come prepared, but I just felt really led to come here. I'm also on the Continuum of Care Board for Orange County that oversees all 34 cities. It's my second term. I've been out helping the homeless out in the streets for about 10 years now. I love them. They're our brothers and sisters. And Mary's Kitchen, from the very beginning, has been that cornerstone to allow people to come and start to get their identity back and feel loved. There's only one thing worse than being homeless, and that's being all alone. So as you hear all these people, these precious people, you hear the stories. This is real.
And you, the city of Orange, has made a huge difference on helping our brothers and sisters in the restoration and recovery. And I thank you all for paying attention. I've been watching, and you all are really paying attention because I really feel that this is important to the city of Orange and to you personally. And I truly feel that you're going to have a change of heart as we all come in together and collaborate. One of the things that Mary's Kitchen is it's a staging area. And it's a staging area to get showers, to get food, but also this, as Michael Wright from Woonwalk, which is amazing, we have committed to start coming every Thursday and to bring all the resources and also the CS, Coordinated Entry, the HMIS, Homeless Management Inventory System, the VI SPDAT. So we're going to take all this, we want to push the reset button, and we want to make it the best that we can ever make it to help these people have a great opportunity and chance to get back in society. We can all do this as a family and to come and really make a difference by pushing the reset button. We'll make this. We can make it amazing. And I'm here. I will commit. You have my personal commitment to come and make sure that we get the coordinated entry system, the HMIS, the VI SPDAT to get people into rapid rehousing and into permanent supportive housing. I think this is what we all want. And I think that this is a wonderful time to bring this, to push the reset button and make this happen. So thank you for allowing me to speak from my heart, my true love for my brothers and sisters. And God bless you all for allowing me.
Thank you very much. Richard Goldsmith.
Hi, my name is Richard Goldsmith. Good evening to the mayor, city council, city manager, and city attorney. I'm here to speak on the issue of music and sound. And I understand there's been a complaint about a group of people who are dancing on the Orange Circle. I've been part of that group for about 9 months, and I live in Anaheim. And so, unfortunately, I haven't had the time to do the research on your noise ordinance, if you want to call that. Let me read you what noise is. Noise is unwanted sound considered unpleasant, loud, or disruptive to hearing. From a physics standpoint, noise is indistinguishable from desired sound, as both are vibrations through a medium, such as air or water. The difference arises when the brain receives and perceives a sound. Issue at hand is this complaint about sound or amplified sound, does it have merit? In Anaheim, next door, we have a sound ordinance, and the public can complain if somebody's got a loud party going on or a band playing after 10 o'clock. My understanding is our group ends its music by band about 8:30, and somebody plays DJ music at a very low level, lower than my spoken voice right here in decibels, almost at the level of a boombox. So my question is, who are the people who are complaining? Mr. City Attorney, do we have due process on finding out who the complainants are?
These are public comments, so there will be no response.
Okay, so there'll be no response. So let me just make my points. Under the 4th and 15th Amendments of free speech, we have a right to find out what the complaints are about. There's come to question if any city council people might have some undue leverage with the complainter. So my question for you would be, do any of you have business or social relationships with the people who complained? If you do, what are those business relationships? If they're social, who are they? Have they donated to your campaigns? If they've donated to your campaigns and you have an issue on that, should that make you unable to speak on this matter? So, in closing, I don't think this issue is done. We have a right to find out who the complainers are. And I think this group is doing something that's great. It's bringing business to the circle, It's bringing a good mood, and it's not going against any hours of operation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That completes public comments. It's the top of the hour. I'm going to suggest we take a 10-minute recess, and we'll be back in order.